ואילו פינו מלא שיר הקיים ולשוננו רינה וידינו פרוסות כנשרי שמיים ורגלינו קלות כילות. ואילו פינו מלא שיר הקיים ולשוננו רינה וידינו פרוסות כנשרי שמיים ורגלינו קלות כילות. אין אנחנו מספיקים להודות לך ולברך את שמך מלך מלכי המלכים, מלך מלכי המלכים, מלך מלכי המלכים. אין אנחנו מספיקים להודות לך ולברך את שמך מלכנו. אין אנחנו מספיקים להודות לך ולברך את שמך מלכנו.
שיר הקיים ולשוננו עינה וידינו פרוסות כנשרי שמיים ורגלינו קלות כילות. ואילו פינו מלא שיר הקיים ולשוננו עינה וידינו פרוסות כנשרי שמיים ורגלינו קלות כילות. אין אנחנו מספיקים להודות לך ולברך את שמך מלך מלכי המלכים, מלך מלכי המלכים, מלך מלכי המלכים. אין אנחנו מספיקים להודות לך
beloved, and cover me with the shelter of your peace. Light up the world with your presence, that we might exalt and rejoice in you. Hurry, loved one, the appointed time has come. Show us grace as long ago. Shabbat time. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Time of loving kindness. Time to meet with our souls. Time to center, time to ground. Time for community. As we start this celebration of time, this palace in time, as Abraham Shosha Heschel referred to Shabbat as a palace, as a castle that you enter and you transition into something that is completely different. I invite you to take one moment before we light Shabbos candles and to recognize things that you might be carrying into this Shabbat that you don't want to have with you. You know, there's a law that says that you are not supposed to carry in Shabbat. Now, we are home, so we are in betoch the Eruv, we are inside the Eruv, we are within the area in which we actually can carry physical things. However, it's actually a very good practice to recognize emotional things or concerns that we don't want to carry into our Shabbat. So I invite you to take just one moment to close your eyes and to recognize those things, to think about those things, and to maybe take them, put them inside a box. And as you put them inside that imaginary box, we'll close it, we will lock it, we will leave it for the next 25 hours. As we try to fully embrace this experience of Halloween time. I invite you to open your Sidurim on page 124 at Lakat Anerot.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom to Gabriel, Shabbat Shalom to Zachary, Shabbat Shalom to Noga, and Shabbat Shalom to all those that are joining us on Facebook and on YouTube. We will now turn our Sidurim to page 129. I am my beloved, and my beloved is mine. We start our Shabbat singing from the Song of the Songs, trying to bring our hearts to acknowledge this Shabbat as a loving gift that was given to us.
The
turn our sidurim to page 130 as we come in Shabbat to the encounter with the divine. Lechu neranena la'Adonai.
Nekad mafanav betona izmirot narialo Shirul Adonai Shir Chadash Shirul Adonai Kol haaretz Shirul Adonai Bachu Shemo Basru miyom leyom Yeshuato Sapru b'goyim kevodo Bechol ha'amim nifla'otav Laila ki gadol Adonai Adonai me'od Noraot Al kol Elohim Rai tichon Elohei yamim Ve'elilim Ba'adonai shamayim asa Od be'adai לפניו עוז בתפארת ואל מקדשו יאמרו לי ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ המים ובלו יעלו שרי בכל אשר בו שבת שלום שבת שלום Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Zeitankav, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. We turn our sidurim to page 134. Samru la'Adonai. Samru l'Adonai bechinor v'kol zimra b'chatotav
page 136, Psalm 29. It is customary to stand for Psalm 29. So even if you are not standing, it's time to connect your body and to start to try to fully enter the Shabbat experience, to think about how you bring your full presence into the celebration of Shabbat. מזמור לדוד, אבו לאדוני בנהלים, אבו לאדוני כבוד בעוז, אבו לאדוני כבוד שמו, השתחוו לאדוני בעד הקודש, כל אדוני על מים, עירי אדוני על מים, על מים, על מים רבים, על מים, על מים, על מים רבים. כל אדוני בכוח, כל אדוני בהדר, כל אדוני שובר אנסים, וישבר אדוני את ארצי הלבנון, וירקידם כמו עגל לבנון, בציון כמו ברמים, כמו ברמים. כל אדוני חוצב להבות אש, כל אדוני יכיל מדבר, יכיל אדוני מדבר קדש, כל אדוני יכול אל עיינות, ויחשוף מערות, ובהיכלו כולו מרכבות, ובהיכלו כולו מרכבות, ובהיכלו כולו מרכבות. אדוני למבול ישב, וישב אדוני מלך לעולם, אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום, את עמו, את עמו, את עמו בשלום. Come to the encounter with the bride, to the encounter with that is sacred to you, as we gather with this poem that was written centuries ago, with the memory of our grandparents, the image of the lives that we want to live, and the vision of the future that we want our children to experience, as all of us have the opportunity to gather in this time beyond time, Lecha Dodi, on page 138.
ושמו אחד
ליי ליי לך דודי היי ליי 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 לקראת קלה היי ליי בני שבת בני שבת בני שבת בקבלה לא תבושי ולא תקהמי תשתוכחי ומדהמי בך יחסו עניי ימים לך דודי איי 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 לקראת קלה איי איי בני שבת בני שבת בני שבת בקבלה איי 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 Shabbat, I invite you to welcome each other and to acknowledge each other's presence, whether you are on Facebook or YouTube. And you can say Shabbat Shalom to each other. Say good Shabbos. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. We turn our Sidurim to page 140. We dedicate to Shabbat. One more song, one more psalm. Mizmor Shir Yom HaShabbat, Psalm 92.
ולזמר
page 146. We take a moment to acknowledge our minyan, and as we move closer to the Shema, we look around in our virtual minyan and we tell to each other, we say to each other that you count, that the diversity of our individualities is what makes actually the unity of God. We're on page 146 for Baruch. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Ba'ed. You may be seated. משנה עתים ומחליף את הזמנים, מסדר את הכוכבים, מילותיהם ברקיע כרצונו, וליום הלילה ולאור מפני חושך, חושך מפני אור. You are creator of day and night, pulling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. The night Sevaot is your name, ever-living sovereign, in God. You reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, Amariv Aravim. עולם בית ישראל, עמך אהבת תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת. Everlasting love you offer to your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever, day and night. We will reflect on them, for they are our lives. Ki em chayenu, l'orech yameinu, and doing them lengthens our days. Dear God, never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people, Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo, Israel. And as we turn to page 152, I invite you to cover your eyes and to think for one moment, what's the meaning of an everlasting love for you? What makes you feel deeply loved? And as you recognize that love, I invite you to take a deep breath. To become one.
Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
We continue on page 154 with Ve'ahavta. Please join me. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibartam bam בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם מאוד על ידיך והיו לתותבות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
אדוני אלוהיכם אמת, אמת באמונה כל סוד בקיים עלינו, כי הוא אדוני אלוהינו, בין זולתו ואנחנו ישראל עמו. Perform miracles for us before Pharaoh, signs and wonders in the land of the Egyptians. You led your people Israel out from their midst to freedom for all time. When your children witness your presence, they praise your name in gratitude. When they accepted your sovereignty, Moshe, Miriam, and all Israel sang together, lifting their voices with joy. Who is like you, O God? Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. We're on page 158. Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praise are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Goel Israel. We turn our Sidurim to page 160 as we think about our search for personal and inner peace, as we think about our search for hope. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום בעמידנו, מלכנו שומרנו לחיים. Let us lay down and rise up with our hopes and our visions renewed.
Sometimes I lay under the moon and thank God I'm breathing. Then I pray, don't take me soon, 'cause I am here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more war, and our children will play one day, one day, one day, one day, one day, one day.
Ashkemeinu Adonai, Eloheinu Leshalom, V'hamidenu Shalom. L'chaim, Ashkemeinu Adonai, Eloheinu Leshalom, V'hamidenu Shalom. L'chaim, ufos aleinu. Sukkot Shlomecha, Betapenu Be'etza, Tov Ami Lefanecha. Ashkemeinu Adonai, Eloheinu Leshalom, V'hamidenu Shalom. L'chaim, Ashkemeinu Adonai, Eloheinu Leshalom, V'hamidenu Shalom. One day, one day, one
Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing, for you, God. Watch over us and deliver us, for you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Baruch atah Adonai, por Sukkot Shalom Aleinu, ועל כל עמו ישראל, ועל ירושלים. Blessed are you, Adonai, Garden of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. It's a covenant to me and the children of Israel. Shamru b'nei Israel et Shabbat. We're on page 162. Shamru b'nei Israel et Shabbat. La'asot et Shabbat לדורתם ולעיתונם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ואת הארץ. וביום השביעי, וביום השביעי, שבת ויהי נפש. Page 164. Filat Amidah. We invite you to take a moment for personal prayer that you can find while following the words of our tradition, or by trying to take a quiet moment for yourself and trying to connect with your tefillah shebalef, with the prayer of your heart.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agiti latecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise.
לא אנצור, לשוני מרע ושפתיי מדבר מרמה. May God guard me, my speech from evil and my lips from deception. Before those who slander me, I will hold my tongue. I will practice humility. Open my heart to your Torah, that I might pursue your mitzvot. As for all who think evil of me, cancel their designs and frustrate their schemes. Act for your own sake, for the sake of your power, for the sake of your holiness, for the sake of your Torah, so that your loved ones may be rescued, safe with your power, and answer me. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. We are at the bottom of page 180.
Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael.
Now, we now take a moment to acknowledge those that are dealing with illness. We acknowledge during this pandemic time essential workers. We acknowledge those that are exposing their health in order to keep and to protect the health of our community. We acknowledge those dealing with COVID and those that are dealing with illness in their bodies and their spirits. We acknowledge those and think of those dealing with addictions. Page 371, Mishiberach.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach Nimotenu Mekor habracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say
Wish to all of them רפואה שלמה והחלמה מהירה, a complete and a fast recovery. Parshat Shlach Lecha relates the famous story of the 12 spies. Moshe gathers a group of 12 men and assigns them with the mission of collecting strategic data about Eretz Canaan, aka the land of Israel. Moshe asked them to look for walls, gates, and samples of food. The spies went ahead and started their mission. They found a cluster of grapes so enormous that 8 men were needed to carry it. They encountered heavily fortified Canaanite cities, and in them Anakim, giant men. In addition, they saw the locals mourning over the death of a Canaanite nobleman. And so, with all this information, the spies concluded their tour and arrived back to report. From the great cluster of grapes, they concluded, we can't succeed because everything is huge. From the funeral, they concluded, we can't succeed because this land devours its inhabitants. Eretz ochelet yoshvei yair. And from the heavily fortified walls and giant men, they concluded, we can't succeed because they are too strong and too well protected. Only two spies express their disagreement with this assessment: Caleb and Joshua, Yeshua. Caleb says the facts are all true, but you have seen all the incredible things that happened to us since we left Egypt. We will be able to manage it. And the most important thing is that this land, the promised land, is a land of milk and honey. The spies were in complete agreement over the facts: the big grapes, the giant men, the walls, the death, and even the fact that it was a land indeed of milk and honey. However, there were two completely different narratives. The voice that the 10 spies sounded, those 10 that recommended to U-turn and go back to Egypt, were heard. Those voices were heard by all the people who cried the entire night. And while they're crying, God wonders how it can be that after all their experiences, they still don't have confidence in Him. Moses once again advocates for the children of Israel, asking God to forgive them. Moses reminds him, Adonai Chapayim Urav Chesed Noseh Avon Bafesha. God is slow to anger and abundantly kind, forgiving iniquity and transgression. Moshe implores, Slach na la'avon ha'am haseh. Please forgive the iniquity of this nation in accordance with your abounding loving kindness, as you have borne these people from Egypt until now. And then, even when God was frustrated with all the people who adopted this negative narrative, which is equal to unfaithfulness and complete despair, Torah says, Vayomer Adonai, Salachti kidvarecha. And God said, I have forgiven them in accordance with your word, with your request. But He also declares that this generation will perish in the desert, and that just their children will experience freedom in the promised land. Now, as you probably have noticed, we are familiar with some fragments of this text from the liturgy of Yom Kippur. Vayomer Adonai, Salachti kidvarecha. You know it. And the main topics of Yom Kippur, the main topics around these words are introspection, reflection, repentance, or in one word, teshuvah. What do you think the teshuvah of that generation would have sounded like? What would their major regret be? I imagine that it would be something between the lines of, I regret so much that I allowed my fear to guide my actions and decision making. I am so sad that my fears got me stuck in the desert forever. I'm so disappointed in myself that I couldn't build my strength upon the miracles I experienced. And instead, I kept acting like I never left Egypt. I'm so sorry. The novelist Karen Thompson Walker explains in her TED Talk that fear is like stories we tell ourselves. These stories can sometimes save our lives, and in some cases, even predict the future. As a matter of fact, fear is recognized as an essential characteristic that evolved for human survival. But there is a problem with fear. Fear comes to our minds as stories with tangible images. As a result, we tend to experience greater fear for things that we can picture. The problem with letting fear lead our choices is that it can oppose our knowledge, our logical thinking, and sometimes even the values that we hold dear. The tragedy of the Dor Amidbar, the generation of the desert, is a name for them. Dor Amidbar, the generation of the desert, those that never made it, is that they were never able to trade the tangible images of their fear with the images that they yearned to see. In her book, The Power of Meaning, Finding Fulfillment in a World Obsessed with Happiness, the psychologist Emily Efshani Smith brings the research of Dan McAdams, a psychologist from Northwestern University. McAdams speaks about the concept of narrative choices. He explains that the narrative of our lives is the thing that brings coherence and meaning to our life experiences. Our narrative choices are the selection of events that we use while telling the story of who we are. In his research, McAdams was able to recognize two groups of people: those that had a contaminating narrative and those who had a redemptive one. He explains that those with the redemptive narrative were more likely to experience a life of meaning and to fulfill their goals. However, those with the contaminating narrative were more likely to experience depression and self-segregation. So what is a redemptive narrative? A redemptive narrative is an ascending narrative. It is when people who are able to recognize painful and challenging moments, as well as joyful and positive ones, present their story in a way that describes motion from negative to positive by pairing challenges with hopes or dreams. A contaminating narrative is the one that recognizes positive things, but nevertheless presents them, all of them, as ending with a negative experience, which might not be necessarily related to the positive one. All positive experience lead to a dead end of negativity. She explains that the gift that psychology brought to our lives is the opportunity to reflect on our narratives and to make edits when they are needed. Similarly, Parashat Shlach Lecha tells us the story of a generation that was never able to embrace and to create a redemptive narrative and remained forever attached to a contaminating one. Now, this is not about them, because as you might know, they die in the desert. So the question is not about their teshuvah and their ability to revise. This is rather about us and our ability to contemplate our own narratives and to identify if our personal narrative is a redemptive one that helps us get closer to our hopes and dreams, or a contaminating one that will leave us forever in the bitterness and the images of what is painful to us. May this Shabbat allow us to see beyond the images of what is frightening to us. May we find the courage to look at our narratives and to make edits where they are needed. May your story be a story of redemption, and may you make it to your promised land. Shabbat Shalom. We will continue our service now on page 598 as we take time to acknowledge mourners among our community. One of the customs in our community is that we try to recognize the different cycles of mourning and time that our people, our members, are experiencing. So we cannot do that while we are virtually connected. We don't see you. But we want to invite you to recognize your own time. And we want to encourage you to share the names of those that you are remembering. If you are during the first 7 days of mourning, please rise. If you are during the first 30 days of mourning, Shloshim, please rise. If you are during the cycle of the first year of mourning, please rise. If you have a yahrzeit this week, please rise. Now you can support our fellows while standing or sitting, join us with your voices and your hearts for Mourners Kaddish on page 598. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי הרבה, בעלמא דברה חילותה, בימליך מלכותה, בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יאה שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי תקודשה בריחו, לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תמידם בעלמא, ואמרו אמן. יש להם הרבה מן שמיה, בחיים טובים עלינו ועל כל ישראל באמרו אמן. עושה שלום באמרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל באמרו אמן. May the memories of your dear ones be a blessing. יהיה זכרם ברוך. We share two things. Number one is that tomorrow we will be accompanying our dear Miriam as she receives her rabbinical ordination. If you need the information for that activity, please check our tidbits of Tuesday. And if you don't find there, you can look on Miriam's Facebook and support her and congratulate her. There's something about the rabbinate. I know Miriam is here around, so I will say that because I know she's hearing. Rabbinate is not just about getting an ordination. The ordination is important, and we are proud and we are excited. But the title rabbi, the Torah rabbi, is a title of honor, a title that recognizes someone's journey. Now, we start to give rabbinical ordinations with institutions as HUC and the different rabbinical schools, the Miriam School, the school in Boston, the variety of schools, just 150 years ago. We have been in this enterprise of rabbinate for many, 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 many more years than that. And the title Rabbi is a title that recognizes knowledge and commitment and devotion. I want to say that we recognize all those things in Miriam, who is a teacher in our community, who is a leader in our community. We couldn't be prouder of you and more excited for you, Miriam. You are a rabbi. Tomorrow when you get the ordination, but also today you are a rabbi for our community, and you are recognized as an authority and a spiritual leader in our community. So we are thankful to have you with us, and we are honored to participate in this experience that you will have tomorrow, and to accompany you as you continue in your journey. Second thing, I'll just share a little bit because I am really, really excited about that. Harman Institute is having a program for teenagers, a fellowship, a very serious fellowship with a huge commitment of study. And we were informed that 11 children from Orange County were accepted to that fellowship, and that 3 of them, and we will share their names next week, are from our community. So we have 3 teenagers that will be studying for 2 months in a daily basis about Israel and Judaism with the top scholars in the Jewish world. So we are proud, excited, and we are looking forward to have their knowledge and experiences being shared with our community. There's nothing else to say. We are going to turn our Sidurim to page 142, I think, Abby. Is that right?
Yeah.
Or Shalom Aleichem, as we invite the Shabbos angels to join us, to accompany us.
Shalom Alechem, Malachi Yesharet, Malachi Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shalom Alechem, Malachi Yesharet, Malachi Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh ברכם לשלום, מלכי שלום, מלכי עליון, ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ברכוני לשלום, מלכי שלום, מלכי עליון, ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. צא אתכם לשלום, מלכי השלום, מלכי עליון, ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
ויחולו השמיים בארץ וכל צבאם, ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישפוט ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואימותינו בצל Bemenuchateinu, our God and God of our ancestors, be pleased with our rest. Sanctify us with your mitzvot and grant us a share with your Torah, in your Torah. Kachenu b'mitzvotecha v'ten chelkeinu b'tzoratecha tzavenu mituvecha
בשמחנו וישועתך, היי היי היי, קדשנו במצוותיך, ותן חלקנו בתורתך, צווינו מטובך, בשמחנו וישועתך, היי 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 היי, יאללה היי 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 יאללה היי היי היי, yalla la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Beta, Eliveino, there's more. Beta, Eliveino, Beta, Eliveino, ועובדך באמת, תאר ליבנו, ותאר ליבנו, ותאר ליבנו, ועובדך באמת, ידעי, 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 ננחילנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבה ורצון, שבתות שלך, שבתות שלך, ננחילנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבה ורצון, שבתות שלך, שבתות שלך, ויניחו בה ישראל מקדשי שמך, ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו, ושבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים.
כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו.
ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת לחיים.
Amen. And as we conclude this Erev Shabbat, this evening of Shabbat, we make sure that we connect with each other. If you are physically standing next to someone else, you might hold hands, you might embrace each other. We also recognize that we might be physically alone, but we are not standing alone. That generations before us are standing next to us, and generations that will come are standing next to us. We recognize the blessings of our parents, we recognize the blessing of our children. As we take the words, the millennial words of our tradition, the blessing and the love that comes from past generations, that we embrace in our present and we project into the future. We let the loving hands of our parents cover our heads as we extend our hands for the heads of our children or those that we want to share our love with. We say, may God inspire you to be like Ephraim and Menashe. Smecha Elohim k'Ephraim וכמנשה. We say to our girls, may God inspire you to be like the mothers of Israel, like Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah. And to all of them we say, יברככם Adonai וישמרכם. May God bless you and protect you. יאהב Adonai פניו אליכם May God's presence be with you, /shine within you. יישא Adonai פניו אליכם. May God's presence be within you always. וישם לכם Shalom. And may God bless you with peace. וישם לכם Shalom. May God bless you with the courage to make anything your narrative. וישם לכם Shalom. May God bless you the courage to embrace the Shura and to write your own story and to challenge pain and despair with hope. ויעש לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. May God bless all of us with peace. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.